Facebook. Hi, Instagram. Gonna wait a little while for people to join me. Thank you guys so much for using your Tuesday evening to spend a little bit of time with me. I'm going to get started soon. I'm just going to give people a little while to join if they're going to join me. I hope everybody has been having a good day. Your day has been going well. We're going to talk a little bit tonight about um, perfectionism and what we should do instead of trying to be perfect with everything. So I appreciate everybody joining me. So I'm going to give everybody maybe another 30 seconds and then I'm going to get started. So if you are joining me live, again, I will say thank you so much. If you are watching a replay, thank you for watching a replay. Let me know after you look at this video, what you think. Let me know your opinions about what I'm going to talk about as far as perfectionism and those things. So I am going to get started. My name is Jennifer J. Dove. I am also known as the authority on authenticity. I am the author of the book Ready for More, A Woman's Guide to Becoming Fearlessly Authentic. And I am also an authenticity coach. So I teach high achieving professional women how to amplify their confidence, how to clarify and to pursue their passions and showcase their power so they can elevate their lives, both personally and professionally. And what I will say about that is working with high achieving women, women who are professional and who are movers and shakers and who are go getters. A lot of times one of the things that they deal with is perfectionism and trying to be perfect. So, this was something that in my professional career and in my life, perfectionism was really, really something that um, hindered me. People might look at it as trying to be perfect as a good thing, but it's something that could really hinder you. And the ladies that I work with, when you are moving a shaker and you making big things happen, it can be something. It can be stressful for you. It can really be something um, that can bother you. Yes, I see some hands on my on my Instagram page, on my Instagram saying, "Yeah, you can relate." But I will tell you, one of the things that I wrote about in my book is I would have something called perfection paralysis. And what that means is that whatever task I was working on, whatever I was doing, I wanted it to be perfect, right? So if I didn't have all of the information that I felt like I needed to complete the task, or if I didn't feel like I knew the subject matter that I was working on and I was an expert at it, I really struggled with getting it done because I wanted it to be perfect. And so, in that atmosphere of wanting it to be perfect, I would do nothing. I would waste time. I would stress out about it. I would overthink. And a lot of people who are high achievers, a lot of people who are movers and shakers long to be perfect. And they get stuck. I would get stuck constantly, all the time. And the ladies that I work with, they get stuck too. So I want to talk with you tonight about letting perfectionism go and why we should go ahead and take imperfect action. And imperfect action is better than perfect inaction, right? Because we want to make things happen. If we want to be successful, if we want to move ahead, if we want to have the life of our dreams, we have to do something, right? We cannot become paralyzed in our overthinking and trying to be perfect. So, we're going to talk about some reasons why we should go ahead and take imperfect action. One of the reasons that you need to take imperfect action is because you need to stop thinking and start doing. Do I have anybody that is uh, on either one of these lives or in the replay that are overthinkers, when you are an overthinker, you get in your head and you keep thinking, can I do this? I don't know if I can do this. Should I do this way? Maybe I should do it this way. And you become so caught up in the thinking that you're not doing anything. But you need to take incremental steps. It could be something tiny. If you're working on a project and you need to write something, write one sentence, write a paragraph, do something, get out of your head and move forward. So, another thing that you need to know when you are letting go of perfectionism and taking imperfect action, I hate to tell you this, but nothing is ever perfect. And that is because as humans, we're not perfect, right? So perfection is a goal that you can't meet, right? So when you're in your head and you're trying to be perfect, it's not going to happen, right? Because no one is perfect. So you need to just come to terms with that. You're not perfect. None of us are. And that's the beauty of it. None of us are perfect. Perfection does not exist in human beings, right? So take comfort in that and go ahead and take action. So, another reason that you should take imperfect action is because feedback is golden, right? So if you're working on something and you are taking action and other people can see your work, if you're writing a book, if you are writing a paper, if you're hosting a meeting, if you're doing a video, right? Feedback is golden because when you hear from other people, then you're able to get better. The next time you do it, you're better at it. The next time you do it, you feel better about yourself, right? But if you don't take any action, nobody knows what you're doing, you can't get any feedback at all, right? Feedback is golden. That is why you need to continue to move forward. Even when you feel stuck, do it anyway. Take an incremental step anyway. So, one of the other reasons you should take action is because taking action is a huge confidence builder, right? So if you have something that you know you need to do or that you want to do that will lead to you being successful, that will lead to you having the life of your dreams, right? You got to do something, right? Doing it will build your confidence. If you never do it, you never have the opportunity to build your confidence, right? For example, let's take these lives that I'm doing. for for example, I just started back doing lives last week, and I was so nervous and so like disheveled about it. And I was like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But I said, you know what? I need to go ahead and do it anyway. And so the more that I do them, the more my confidence builds up. And so I feel better about doing it and I want to do it more. Not only that, but the step I said before, right? I gain more confidence. I get more feedback from people. People say, hey, you know what? I really enjoyed your live. I learned this and this and this. And so that lets me know how I need to tweak things, what I need to do to improve. So you need to take imperfect action. So we talked about it being a confidence builder. But another thing is, believe it or not, clarity comes from taking action. If you're confused, if you don't know which direction to go in, if you don't know what to do, if you're working on something and you just cannot seem to figure it out, the clarity comes in doing it, not in thinking about it, right? Because when you are thinking about it, you're in your head, all your doubts are coming. You are doubting yourself. You don't know if you can do it. You're just concerned about it. But when you start to do it, then you can see, ah, okay, so I did it and I didn't like the way I did this part, so I need to work on that, right? You begin to get clarity when you start talking to people, when you start putting yourself out there, then you can become even more clear on what you're doing, right? So when you're stuck in your perfectionism and you don't do anything and you are confused, right? If you don't do anything, you are going to stay confused, right? Because if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got, right? So you're going to stay confused. So take action so you can get clarity. This is another thing. One of the things that I had a challenge with, and the people that I work with have challenges with, is they feel overwhelmed. Um, when you are a perfectionist and you have a lot of things on your plate and you haven't taken any action, the things on your plate start piling up, right? They just start building up one after the other, and you begin to feel overwhelmed. So, taking action helps to reduce the overwhelm, the feeling of being overwhelmed, right? It truly does because you are getting things off your plate, or you can see where you are making progress on things. If you don't do anything, you can't see where you're making any progress at all, right? So, taking action helps reduce the feeling of being overwhelmed, which is a good thing, right? Perfectionists tend to be overwhelmed with all the tasks that they have, all the things that they do, and it's all in their head. So that is just clouding your thinking even more, right? And this is contributing to you not doing anything. So you need to take imperfect action. So, another thing that I want to talk about is that action accelerates the learning curve. I mentioned at the beginning of this live that as a recovering perfectionist, that if it was a task that I had to do and I felt like I didn't have all the information, or if I felt like I wasn't an expert on whatever I was doing, I was stuck, right? I was in my head and I was like, well, I can't do this. This is not going to be good. I'm not going to be successful at this. I don't really know exactly what I'm doing. But taking action accelerates the learning curve. So when you start to take action, what you start to do is you start to learn, right? You start to gather the information that you need so you can now um, make better choices about what you're doing, and you can do the work better, right? So when you don't take any action at all, you're not learning anything, right? So for the people that I work with, they're successful, they're movers and shakers, they're trying to get to the next level. You can't get to the next level, right, without expanding your knowledge, without growing, without moving forward. And if you do not do anything, you cannot learn. So you have to take action to accelerate the learning curve. So I talked about 7 points in that period of time, but I'm going to tell you again what they are. One, stop thinking and start doing. Get out of your head. Just go ahead and do it. Take one incremental step to whatever it is that you're working on. Two, realize that nothing is perfect. You are not perfect. No one is perfect. And that's okay. That's the beauty of being a human being. None of us are perfect. Just go ahead and move forward. Three, feedback is gold. It's golden, right? You got to take action so people can see what you're doing, so you can get the feedback, so you can adjust and tweak and become better at what you're doing and at who you are. Number four, taking action is a huge confidence builder. The more you do it, the more you get better at it, and the better you'll feel about yourself and what you're doing. Number five, clarity comes from taking action. If you're confused, if you're frustrated, if you don't know which way to go in whatever you're doing, do not sit still. Start doing something, and the clarity will come as you do it. You will work through it. Number six, action, taking action lessens the overwhelm, right? So if you feel overwhelmed, when you start taking action, you can check things off your list. You can say, hey, I have this task to do. I've completed 50% of it. I only have a half of it left to do, right? So it reduces the feeling of being overwhelmed. I don't know if I have anybody that is listening live or on the replay that if you have ever had a to-do list at the beginning of the day and by the end of the day you can check off everything on that to-do list, that makes you just feel really good, right? It reduces the overwhelm and you can look back and say, wow, I did all of these things today. I did everything that I planned on doing. And number 7, action accelerates the learning curve. When you take action, you have the opportunity to learn more about whatever it is that you're doing so you can become better at it. You can become more successful at it. That is so, so important. So, I want to talk to you about one more thing before I go, and that is about fear of failure. So, a lot of times when you are a perfectionist, you don't want to fail. And so you're so concerned about failing, about not being successful, about how you're going to appear to other people, how you're going to be found out that you don't know anything, right? So you use your fear, right, of not being perfect to procrastinate and to not take action. But I want to tell you something, and I'm going to end with this, with everything that we've talked about. I'm going to end with this. Your fear of failure, that failure is necessary for you to have the success. You have to take action. Even if you take action and you find out it's the wrong action, at least now you know what to do, right? So, very few people are successful on their first try. Failure is on the road to success, right? So don't look at it as I failed, I'm not perfect, so I'm just not going to do anything. You need to continue to move forward. You need to continue to go ahead. You need to understand that failure is part of success. So, I hope that this helped you today. I hope that this helped you to consider taking imperfect action. So, when you are working on something and you are a perfectionist or a recovering perfectionist like I am, and I say recovering because sometimes I still get stuck in that, right? And we all do. I hope that rather than just not doing anything and staying stuck, you will think about these 7 things that I shared with you today, and you will take imperfect action. I talk about perfection paralysis and taking action in my book, Ready for More, A Woman's Guide to Becoming Fearlessly Authentic. If the book is something that you're interested in, you can get it at my website, www.jenniferjdove.com. This spring, I will have opportunities, if you're interested, to work directly with me. And if you would like, DM me. I would love for you to DM me. You can ask me about my book. You can ask me about my upcoming coaching program. You can talk to me about anything that has to do with authenticity or anything about what we talked about today. I appreciate everybody joining me. Instagram, love you. Facebook, love you. To everybody who watched me live, thank you. For all my people on replay, thank you so much. I hope you all have a good night, and I will see you again very soon. Bye bye.